welcome to your March astrology report, energy report, update on everything. We have got a lot to cover. It's a very, very active month. It is very exciting, a very crucial time, and we have so much to go over because everybody's moving, everybody's in alignment, all of our planets, and we've got a new moon today. So we're going to discuss everything from the end of February, which, by the way, those 28 days took like 6 months. February was so slow. It was a long time for us, and a lot of existing in this primordial space to really bring in more. So allow those emotions to flow and allow those emotions to move. But we've got to go over the new moon cycle, and I've got something great for you guys to download with that. Venus Retrograde, all of the major planets like Pluto moving 1 degree, which doesn't seem like a lot until you realize that it takes 1.5 years for Pluto to move 1 degree. So let's go over everything in order so that you can be ready to make the light choice all month. Now, I have to mention that we are in eclipse portal time. So if you have not subscribed, you need to subscribe because I have this month coming all about eclipse season, what eclipses mean, how to follow the cycle, and it's going to be a lot like how to follow this Pisces new moon cycle that we're going to talk about, and Venus retrograde cycle. It is a really, really cool cycle that I want you to know about because it's coming through to harmonize and beautify everything as it goes retrograde, and it's going to really clean up your systems as you move forward. This is really important, this new moon in Pisces, for a few reasons. It's the end of a cycle. If you look at astrology in 12 months, Pisces serves as the end and the beginning at the same time. It's like a death and a rebirth, all right? So I want you to think of this new moon being a brand new cycle that we're going to get through for the entire next 2.5 years. I also want you to take note that at the end of the month, that cycle starts in Aries. So this is really a rebirth, guys. And you have the strategy. You have all of the information that you need. By the end of the month, you'll be ready to burst forth and like really bloom into this new experience that you're going to be going on. But between then and now, I want you to start taking note of the moon. We are going to be the moon trackers, and I'm going to create a special group for this, I think. Let me know if you want to be a part of this. And how I know you're really going to want to be a part of this is if you download this worksheet that I've created. I want you to see the worksheet here. It's going to tell you every single house and just give you a little brief explanation of the houses. And you're going to start tracking your moon. And what I want you to start noticing is the lunation cycle. Now, I did not create the lunation cycle. The lunation cycle has existed this entire time. This guy named Robert Grich created it. And what he determined is that a new moon, a first quarter moon, a full moon, and then a last quarter moon are a cycle. The new moon marks the beginning. The first quarter moon kind of shows you an update on where you are, what you need to complete, what hiccups may arise. The full moon gives you a sense of completion. You know that the project is done. You get an idea of where you are on the project. And then that last quarter moon is where you would get your payment. That would be the resolve, the complete end of a project. When you get this worksheet, if you download it on my website, you don't need to do anything to download it. It's free. If you are a subscriber, you'll get it in your email. Subscribe so you can get emails like this, and I will be emailing you to update you on when to update this sheet. I want you to go in here, and at the Pisces new moon section, I want you to write in what's happening right now. In 9 months, when we have the first quarter moon in Pisces, this is based on the degrees, so the moon will be very close to the exact same place that it is now, but it will be a first quarter moon. I want you to write down what has happened, and I want you to look back and start examining. This is how we track the moon. We're going to do it again March 29th in Aries, and I'm going to update this same sheet, so no matter where you are, if you get this now, if you do this at the end of the month, every single month you will have a moon update. It will have tips and tricks on what's going on with the planets and give you a place to keep track. You do this for 2.5 years, you're going to see not only drastic, amazing, incredible changes in your life, but you will then become your own analyst of what's going on and how things proceed for you. You will know what these planets mean for you. And it's one thing to know about the astrology. It's a whole other thing when you start experiencing this astrology for yourself. Track your fucking moon, man, and it's going to change your life. So do this with me. I'm going to be doing this every month. You will always be updated on when to track and what to take note of. And we're going to have this fun moon tracking experience for as long as we can have it together, all right? So what are we looking out for this this new moon in Pisces. Pisces is all about, I keep talking about this birth space, this primordial space that exists outside of Earth, okay? And it holds the blueprint of our capacity, exactly what we came here to do, our mission. Every now and then, a planet has to go to Pisces so that we can redefine and restructure this malleable idea, this thing that we came to build. Through time, as we go through experience, as we capture more information, this blueprint, while it holds a certain definition, it has space to grow and flourish based on your activities. And when the new moon is happening in Pisces, as it is today, there's so much more taking place behind the scenes that you won't be privy to until the end of this cycle, and when we have this Aries full moon at the end of the year, because again, it's another moon cycle, and we're going to talk about it when we talk about the eclipses, because that is an eclipse moon, really important. When you think about these moons, I'm going to say this for a second. If you think about eclipse parts being like major culminations, while the rest of the transits are building to and waning from, building to and waning from that scenario, then you have an idea of how the wave and the flow of experience happens in your life, and emotionally how you connect to them, how you nurture these experiences, which is really important for growth, okay? Another reason that this new moon in Pisces is super freaking important is because when you look at this planetary alignment that we have going on here, right? Look at all these major planets moving from the womb of Pisces, birthing into Aries. All of the stuff that you've been working on, organizing, getting ready, preparing, you're going to get some information that you need to take it further on the journey. You need to know what you're capturing right now and know what you're trying to bring in and know where you're trying to go so that you can get all of the information that you need to complete and to work on that journey. We're at a new level of the experience. Don't think it was like it was before. You've reached another plateau, but we always gonna have mountains to climb. So know that you're always gonna have a place to grow to. And once you surrender to that idea, you can just start going on the journey. And with this new Pisces journey, I want you to really start connecting to what you want to experience in the outer reality and what is required for you to get there, realistically. And I'm saying this to myself as well. How do you get there? Okay? It's one thing to have the dream. There has to be a strategy behind the dream. Now, on one level, as a Course in Miracles students, if you are, or spiritual or light workers, or how you identify your gifts, this blueprint doesn't really come from us on this earth plane. It comes from somewhere else. So we are at this moment with Pisces better able to see the structure and the patterns that the blueprint requires to take the instructions to map them out, and that's what you get with your downloads and your ideas on what to do next as we head into this journey, okay? I'm just looking at my notes here. So my theme for this new year, and I want you to remember this, especially if you get the downloaded worksheet, write this on here. I actually wrote this on here for you. It takes drive, energy, skill, and determination to succeed. But you have to be determined to succeed. Now, this is funny because when I saw this, this is actually from the Sabian symbol because Pisces, I think, is at 9 degrees. The moon is at 9 degrees Pisces. What's really cool here is there was an image of a horse and a person like riding a horse in competition. And for some reason, I relaunched this Instagram. I have the Instagram below if you'd like to follow me. There's great insights there, astrology updates, and so forth. But like, I'm a horse girl. I love horses. Do not have a horse right now, but I really want a horse. And I've been watching all these horse videos. And one of the things that you learn when you get on the horse algorithm on Instagram is, it's very specific, how people communicate with their horse. And it's like you have to learn to coexist with this giant being that could kill you. If it could kick you, it could kill you, it could flip you off. People have been paralyzed, we know that, right? And learning how to work with something else that has its own consciousness, its own ideas, its own behaviors, its own fears, its own strategies, its own everything, right? And the two of you have to connect to go on this competition. And this got me thinking a lot about how we work with the universal force or the energy. How much of it is us trying to get on this consciousness horse or this energy horse, right? And buck it and move it, no matter how messy it is, in the direction that we want it to go. And how much are we actually working with the flow and riding the wave, right? It requires surrender, yes. But it also requires skill. It also requires muscle. It also requires determination. It also requires listening to the guidance of the horse or the energy. You have to know when to shift and know when to move your body. You have to release your fears, or it makes the other entity, consciousness, energy, it's all conscious, right? Or horse, if you go in scared, the horse acts scared, you get bucked off. And it's the same as the mirror for reality. So I want you to think about how you're working with your current energetic surroundings in the present moment each day. Are you bucking against it, trying to go your own way, or are you surrendering to the momentum and the fluidity and moving with it? Okay, and that is kind of the theme that I have for today, for yesterday, for tomorrow. I would even say all the way up to Friday. Stop bucking against the energy. Move with the current, okay? When we use this sheet that you're going to download, all right, you're going to then know about the first quarter moon. It's on November 27th, the full moon on 8/28/2026, and then the last quarter moon of 5/28/2027. So something today, by May of 2027, you will reach a new culmination. Where do you want it on May 2027? First, go there. Dream what you want to actually happen in this scenario. Now, you got that much time to fulfill it, and I want you to work with that time properly in 9-month spurts, all right? So remember those dates. Now we got to talk about Venus going retrograde. March 2nd. Right at the beginning of the month, Venus goes retrograde. Venus is our planet of harmony. It beautifies things. It makes it more congruent with this energy, right? Allowing you to have something beautiful and meaningful to ride the energy with in the proper direction, all right? So, she's going retrograde. She's going retrograde in Aries, okay? So, remember, we got this lineup of planets. Pisces New Moon, Venus then goes retrograde in Aries. If the planets ain't in Pisces, they in Aries. And they stacked and lined up, baby, all right? And they sitting there just changing your life. And so this to me is saying, I want you to think about this. You're having a baby, okay? Remember, we're primordial Pisces space, the womb. You're preparing to give birth to all of these structures and these ideas, okay? Your homie goes, she knows you very well, okay? She's very design chic. She knows you. She knows how to do this. She goes to your house and she decorates the baby's room for who she thinks this baby is going to be and what you think you will like. Venus is doing that for us. She's sticking around in Aries to ensure that when we rebirth this idea, when it shoots from the ground, that it has a harmony to set into. So imagine her working in your favor with this retrograde. And I don't want to go too much into this because I think a retrograde, Venus retrograde, requires an entire video. As she retrogrades through the natal chart, she literally creates the shape of the Venus rose. And those retrograde points are petals. She's forming petals on a flower, okay? Think of your life like that. She's forming one of your petals. So let her do her work in Aries. Allow her to beautify and harmonize this space as you prepare to give birth. But your only job is to get the baby out safely. It's not to be at the house working on the baby's room. She's doing that for you. You can dream about it, but you got to focus on getting this, these ideas out, or this strategy out, or this want out, or this longing out, or this need out, or this desire out properly in the meantime. Now, March 5th, Pluto moves 1 degree. That doesn't seem like something an astrologer would normally tell you. You'd be like, why do I care about this? But again, if Pluto takes a year and a half to move a degree, and it decided to do so right after Venus Retrograde, right with this new moon in Pisces, right with these stacked up planets, and it's looking at these planets, right? That's very important because it don't move, literally a year and a half, it's in 1 degree. And with this year and a half in this 1 degree, remember, we look at the 6 degrees of the gene keys, the I Ching, the human design. So in astrology, that planet is at a degree, and then it moves a degree, and it moves a degree. When we are thinking of these other modalities that we use, we recognize that it has to go through 6 degrees to complete an energy, all right? So, why is this important? Because Pluto has moved out of one gene key's energy into another. If it takes it 1.5 years to go through 1 degree, it takes it about 9 years to go through 6 degrees, okay? And that's not including retrogrades. So for 9 years, we've been in this version of Pluto that was all about cracking the vessel, the limitations, the red line tape, the squeezing, the proving, the working really hard and not being able to get past those boundaries. That's where Pluto was. And it's in an entirely new energy. This is very exciting because it will be like you will stop feeling the squeeze. Okay? This is important. So let's look at the gene keys behind this because it's going to tell us a lot about how the next 9 years with Pluto in this degree, in these 6 energy degrees, and the next year and a half with Pluto in this degree, what we're going to be experiencing as an entire collective. Remember, Pluto's orbit all the way out, it's the big one. It surrounds all of the Plutos, the planets inside. So all of them are affected by this slow moving planet. Everybody's going to feel this energy, okay? So we moved from Gene Key 60, which was titled The Cracking of the Vessel. You felt squoze. The shadow was limitation. The gift was realization. And then I think I'm going to look at my notes. The Sadi was justice. Okay, so we've talked about this a lot. Okay, I can link the Plutos below or have it at the end of this video. But if you don't know about what Pluto was doing, we have so much content. I've filmed so much content about what it was doing. So I thought you would be sick of me hearing about that version of Pluto. But now we go into a new energy. We go from 60, Gene Key 60 to Gene Key 41, and the title is The Prime Emanation. Already, this is just a better Gene Key, if you ask me. Even the shadow of fantasy is better than the shadow of limitation. But the gift here is anticipation, and the Sadi is emanation, okay? So full light. That's what they're saying. That's pretty fucking exciting, excuse my French, that's where we're going with this next round of Pluto energies that we'll be experiencing through our vessel as a collective everywhere. So we got to talk about really important message for you and for me. Are you fantasizing or are you manifesting? Those are not the same thing. I'm going to read you some of this because I found it really poignant and it tells the point better than me because then I don't have to get involved. You can just listen. It's not me. It's the gene keys. Okay? The evolutionary pressure that surges up in human beings carries our entire genetic history within it. That is our evolution all the way from amoeba to Homo sapiens. Over half of your genetic code derives from other organisms from an earlier evolution. All this history carries an enormous weight inside of you. In one sense, it drags you down. But in another, it urges you to want to break free. To face the pressure of all this past inside you takes enormous courage. And as you let it in, you want to run and distract yourself from it in any way possible. Because of the ancestral weight carried by this shadow, it has a deep connection to human appetite and energy. This deeply uncomfortable pressure coming straight out of the 41st shadow, which remember is fantasy, causes us to literally hunger for a better future. By the same token, it has connections with eating, not eating, and depression. The distortion of the 41st shadow can lead to all manner of weight problems and energy problems, from chronic fatigue to hyperactivity. All of these issues are ultimately rooted in the mind and its ability or inability to fantasize about the future. The shadow constantly shuffles between the dream of being full and the urge to be empty. When the gauge reads empty, you fantasize about being full. Whether that means dreaming of meeting your perfect soulmate, having lots of money, or devouring a bar of chocolate depends upon your individual mind and its conditioning. Conversely, when the gauge reads full, you can sink into heaviness in which you feel weighed down by your past and you experience the energy to purge. We all have this innate feeling of hunger to want to do something, okay? And this requires, on one hand, a bit of fantasy, because you have to be able to dream it and to see it to be able to go on the journey. But once you've gotten that fantasy in your mind and that hunger builds, if you are in the shadow of this energy, you're either going to be going through this dreamy state that's not real, it's not based in reality, or a hyperactive state where you're moving around but you're not getting anything done. You're just burning off the energy that you created. You're just having this momentum in no actual direction, okay? Now, when I first started working on this report, I got this massive download that has been reoccurring to me about what the future entails. So I'm going to tell you that. But before I do, I want to look at the gift and the sadi of this gene key, because then it'll be easier for me to say what I see coming for us as a collective in this version of reality. The shadow of fantasy prevents you from feeling complete because the mind doesn't rest in the now, but swings between dreaming of the future and rehashing the past. However, the greatest problem with this shadow is that it prevents you from actually fulfilling your dreams. You become addicted to the hope that the dream brings to your mind, rather than actually launching off in the direction of the dream. This is a major reason why people live off of the fantasies provided by their culture, the movies or alternative realities created through technology and internet, which have become humanity's latest great fantasy addiction. Okay? So, the gift here is anticipation. When you are able to maintain a high frequency through the 41st gift, you will be able to literally download all manner of beautiful things from the morphogenic field. All works of genius emerge from this field. Mozart is a fine example of a man with a strong activated 41st gift. His ability to read the completed scores of all his final works straight from the morphogenic field is well documented, although it may not have been described in this kind of language before. Mozart was born into a world of music and was intensively tutored by his own father, one of Europe's leading musical masters. It is unsurprising then that Mozart picked up on the burgeoning musical morphogenic field of his era. Now known as the classical style, he anticipated its maturation and manifested it in the material plane. So that's a lot of M's. This is the real difference between the 41st gift and the 41st shadow. It is the difference between genius and non-genius. Genius manifests while non-genius dreams. That is not fun to hear. But you see what I mean? It's like you get the idea. How do you bring it to earth? How do you take something from a thought to a thing? That's all we're really trying to do here. Every single thing in existence started as a thought before it could become something tangible in reality. And that process of transmuting this morphogenic field, this horse that we're working with, right? Transmuting it, meaning it's malleable, meaning we can work with it. To bring something into form is something that I think that we are all grappling with, constantly trying to do, forging desires for as a collective, right? To be able to take that and turn it into form It's alchemy. It's magic. It is what we came here to do. So we are being presented with the proper energetic frequency to align and get the max potential from this Pluto resonance. And if we can do that, then we can pick up on the Siddhi. And the Siddhi here is emanation. Emanation is mean you become the light, baby. You become the morphogenic field more than you are. I didn't even have to save anything here. I know this one, all right? You got to go through true enlightenment for this to happen. On the real scale of actually manifesting those tangible desires that feel completely all authentic to you, okay? And it really has to do realizing that the body is an avatar or a vehicle to fulfill it. This is the transmutation device, okay? It's here. It comes into your mind. You think about it. You speak about it, right? Your throat chakra. You connect to the field about it. Your ego gets involved. You start telling people about it. You go out and you talk about it. Your emotions getting involved in your stomach. You feel a certain type of way about it. You feel good about it. It's easy to talk about it. It's easy to go out into the field. That root chakra is you literally birthing it onto the planet. Now, if we think this back to astrology and we're in the womb, Aries is the root of birth, all right? So remembering that the moment we thought about it, because all thoughts can become things, we had it. It's very much ours. All we got to do is pick up all the pieces to put it together like a puzzle, right? They're coming to us constantly in the form of what? Downloads. There's a reason that all you needed was the download. You had every other capacity within your energetic field to pick up that download and to bring it to Earth. And our goal is to seek out the emanation in the field that corresponds with that idea or that emanation internally, that thing that lights us. We have to match those two things to then bring something into form or into being. Pluto is going to be with you doing this. Venus is going to be retrograde, making sure that it's beautiful. The new moon is ramping you up for this experience, okay? Now, I've been getting this download that I want to share with you. And I would really like to know in the comments how this resonates with you on what I'm saying, if this could be possibly something that you have seen in the field, okay? I get this idea that as a collective, we're going to get everything we want. That this fantasy transmutation is going to lead us to be able to easily fulfill all of our desires as a collective. So like, you can only want something so long before you actually get it. And if it's not good for you, then you might lose it, or it still won't reach you to happiness. You'll still be going through suffering, but you got this thing, right? And I feel like as a collective, we're going to get and I'm not talking about the entire world. I keep seeing like a dystopian-esque future where we have all of the technology. We have a lot more currency floating around. People will not be, there's going to be a greater threshold between rich and poor, but I feel like more people will be rich in America, let's say, and there's going to be a greater divide between the rich and poor. But these people in this group, and I think the group is going to widen, is going to be having their needs fulfilled of their financials, and the technology is going to change. And we are going to be living in a futuristic-esque society. It's not going to be like doomsday, which is just what keeps coming to mind when I have this vision. But I want you to think of this time being like the industrial society, where something big is about to shift, merge, and transition us into another level here on Earth, even no matter what dimensional field you think we are splitting to or emanating from or whatever. And I got this idea that we're all going to get what we want, but it ain't going to be the thing that makes us happy. And that there's some of us who will get what we want, and we will have gratitude, and we will be very fulfilled and feel like we have reached this pinnacle, and have to, maybe even grapple a little bit with this idea, okay, I got this thing, but now I have a new desire. And then there are going to be people who are happy with the empty, and it's going to keep them unfulfilled. They have not left the karmic cycle, and it's like, okay, but now you have all this money, but you're still not happy. And to me, that is something that is coming up for me constantly, that's going to happen as a collective, where we're going to reach this place where we have all this awesome, you can walk into your house, all the lights turn on, you've got a headset, you got all of these things, but you still feel unfulfilled and like you are stuck in a system. Or you're going to take this and find your freedom. But that's going to be a choice point for each individual to make. And you got to decide where you stand here. If you got it all today, what would you be doing? How would you be serving? Because I think service, heartfelt service, and this other level of connection is also going to be craved by society. And trying to just sell to people, or it's going to be a lot more heart-based transactions, okay? A lot more feminine energy is coming in around this place. But with that still being in place, there's going to have to be a choice of where your mindset is for whatever is transitioning on Earth, and it's going to take people in two different directions. That's what I have coming up, and I'm very curious if that's something that you have coming up as well, if you can see that. I keep seeing there is going to be like a universal income. There is going to be more jobs. There is going to be better technology and cleaner technology, and these things are coming. But evolution isn't just technology. Our mindsets, some of us are ready for this new thing, and some of us, it's still not going to be enough to fulfill us because we don't feel fulfilled inside. Okay, that's what I'm going to say about that. March 14th, full moon in Virgo. Now, this is really important because Virgo is how we assess our abundance in the field. What we have to collect from, what we have to choose from, how we harvest, what we do with the harvest, what we make from the harvest. Our seeds are sown and, they're coming back at us, okay? So if you think of it as cause and effect, Virgo is effect, and that's coming up with the full moon. So this is going to be remember, if we're looking at lunation cycles, you've got that new moon, that first quarter, full moon. You'll get some information here all the way to the last quarter moon. You're going to be finishing up and finalizing some ideas here for the moon that's going to be in 9 months from this date. We'll talk about it more. Okay, because it's full moon, what are we reaping what we've sown at this point? And when we look at the Sabian symbol here, it's overcoming prideful self-love. Patience and self-control are prerequisites for spiritual advancement. Taming the beast within us is a requirement if we are to maintain an aristocratic demeanor. The darker aspects of our nature, which are never to be defeated or denied, must be brought under the control of the will. This means we cannot ever relax our guard fully and will always be tested for tenacity and forbearance. Pressure tests. I want to talk about this for a second. Pressure tests. Okay. When we go through shit, these are pressure tests. And what they are looking to do is to allow for malleability. When you react, you are reacting from a place of trauma. When you respond, you are taking a responsible action. Pressure tests, or these chaotic moments or these dark times, are required to learn self-love from another level, okay? And I think it's overcoming prideful self-love is because true self-love knows how to, when it's in the self, it knows how to maintain the vessel as the storm goes by. There's so much love there that it won't allow itself to be completely thrashed about. While allowing for a level of surrender, it allows for a level of boundaries at the same time. And I've been thinking about this a lot. Those are two very important scenarios. You have to have a structure or a boundary, and then this gives you a safe space to flush out your creative energy, all right? But if you don't know your shadows, and if you don't know your traumas, and if you don't know all of these dark spots within you, you are not in control of the vessel, and that is not self-love. Self-love is to understand the vessel. So accept the parts of you that you cannot change, but to have a level of, I don't want to use the word control, but I'm going to use the word control, to better utilize the mechanics of this vehicle, including your emotions, to the best of your ability for your highest good. And that requires a level of responsibility. While this is attached to a full moon in Virgo, this has got something to do with our abundance and having to come to terms with probably where we have been doing the work and where we have not. And being able to take the hits from what is to come from that, while also holding ourselves accountable with a lot of love and remembering why we are doing what we are doing, which is to serve, to ensure that we are thinking of more of ourselves while also giving ourselves some space to be human. That is what I think that this full moon is about. So that is on March 14th. This is going to be in the download PDF, and I have it down as the dates of the previous, so you can always look back. I like to look through my iPhone photos for like memories of what happened during that day, if you need some advice. Journaling, if you journal, you can go back in your journal. But you only have one more moon cycle here, so I want you to take note of what is revealed to you through the full moon, and then you'll have some ideas of what is coming to a completion at that last quarter moon, because we're moon trackers now, baby. This is what we do, okay? Then March 15th, with Venus in Aries, Mercury goes retrograde. Okay, so we've got Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, Pluto moves forward, Chiron moves forward, new moon, all full moon. Okay, and obviously we always have a new moon and full moon, but like for it to be in Virgo in your abundance section and like bringing in some earth element to this fire water situation that we have going on over here, and then following up with Mercury, our walkie-talkie to source, our information, our communication, our download getter, our let me know what's really going on planet, to be sitting with Venus, talking to the woman who is redesigning your room from a higher place, saying, this is what this person is ready for. This is where we've taken her. Because think of the sun and Mercury are always together, right? By this time, the sun is still in Pisces working with the womb, but she's about to head, we'll talk about the 21st, into Aries. So Mercury has gone ahead of the sun, pulled all the communication that it needed from Pisces, always in communication, even telepathically, right? It's sitting in your Aries, communicating the harmony to Venus to ensure that she gets that pattern right based on the conversation that you are having right now with Source in Pisces on this blueprint of your dream, on these things that you agreed to do when you came here to Earth, on this contract you signed and said, these are the things that I'm going to fulfill when I get here. Mercury knows that information, is talking to Venus to make sure that there is some momentum. Okay, Aries is the spark, the fire, the beginning of creation. If you were to think of a manifestation as a thought coming into the thing, you would think as Aries as the life force being sparked into the space tangibly. So, a great way to think about this is if you think of an egg and a sperm, as I got, meeting together. When that moment happens, there's a burst of light inside the center of the cell, and mitosis, and the center of that cell gets consciousness, okay? Aries represents that first spark of light, okay? So you have this brand new fire, this spark, this kindling of fire ready for you to put some momentum in with the upcoming year. But it's such a brand new fire, and all of the things are preparing for it. So if you think of Mercury as like, Venus is like going into Aries, this fire, and like making sure all the kindling's in the right place and getting all your dry materials together and pulling all the pieces of wood that you need to create a big fire when we get to Leo season, the next round of fire. You would think of Mercury coming in and saying, you need to move the kindling over to the left. She wants the fire like this. And you know what? She just said that she's actually wants it to look like this. So can you just like take this whole thing and just move it over to the left a little bit? You got those planets working in your favor, retrograde or not. That means they stuck around. Okay? If you think of retrograde planets as the person who came to your house to visit decides to stay an extra week. Okay? If you love that person, if that person's working for you, you're like, yes, we get another week together. If you don't love that person, it's like, what do you mean you're staying for another week? Okay? Another week? So learning to love these planets and knowing the ways that they can benefit you makes it easier for them to be in your atmosphere, and you want them in Aries working on your behalf right now. Okay? So let them stick around and do the work that they're doing. You're over here still trying to come up with exactly what it is, morphing it, fixing it, ensuring that the structure is going to come to earth and actually have a foundation and grow. It's going to, you're doing that part. They're over here making sure that the earth is perfect for you, that this place between the primordial field and earth, let's say, is prime for you to come in, blow on it, add some bigger logs, get a big fire, grow, get big. All right, so everyone is working for you right now in more ways than you could ever know. So when we get to this Mercury retrograde, it's going to be sitting at the gate of expectation, which is the shadow, detachment, which is the gift, and the Siddhi here is celebration. I don't like to say lower your expectations, release them completely, because you don't know what can come from everything that you're doing. Okay? I want you to instead allow new information in. When you have an expectation for something and a download comes in that does not meet, match, fit within this defined pattern that you've created for yourself, you give no place for this structure to take form in the way that it might be meant to take form. When you are open and you don't know where it's really going to go, but you're willing to take the information, then you've got a lot more places to move. And that's what Mercury is going to be doing for you if you can release your expectations. And then if you release your expectations and you get to this level of detachment, of surrender, right? It will lead you to be in a constant place of celebration, because all things are working out for me, okay? It's all going in my favor. Even if it don't look like it right now, these are the things that I have to get through. Confirmation from my meditation app, Happy 111. These are the things that I have to get through to get to the thing. That means I'm already there. I know the steps, all right? So by March 21st, the sun is going to enter Aries, and it's like another moment for us, all right? Spring. You know how it feels to be in spring. You're like, we made it through the fire, okay? Even though you're entering fire, but you made it through the winter, the storm. We're coming up to something. We have something. You're going to feel a little bit of a new hope, okay? And I'm very excited about this, because then on March 29th, you've got that new moon and that partial eclipse in Aries. Aries, the planet of I am, okay? You're redefining who that is. Who are you? Who are you? At the end of the month, obviously, this will be added to the PDF document so that you can track this new moon, the beginning, all the way to the end. Okay, so then we're going to be tracking the new moon at 9 degrees on the March 29th. Then 12/27, we got the first quarter. Then the full moon is going to be 9/26/2026. And then the last quarter moon is going to be 6/27/2027. All right? And those dates keep standing out to me. I've got 9/26/2026 and 6/27/2027. So this I am energy that you have brought into being with all of this planetary alignment, you've got 2.5 years. By 2027, who am I? Who am I? Okay? Because you're going to call it today and you're going to claim it fully then and receive everything from it. These are cycles. It's not to say that you don't feel that you are something right now, but allow the long game to show you something fucking fantastic about yourself. All right? So you're going to write down on March 29th all of the things that you're experiencing about your Aries. You're going to know, because you went to my website, to get your free astral chart reading and human design chart, your charts. I'm not reading for free, sorry y'all. But you're going to have known that you're going to have that information. So you're going to know where Aries is, what house it's in. And you're going to have the information for the house. And you're going to have the information for Aries, because I have it all here for you. And you're going to say, oh my gosh, it's in my 5th house. Let's start that art project I've been thinking about. Oh my God, it's in my 2nd house. I need to start thinking about these attainable values and where my value system is. That's who I am, okay? And then it's going to give you the juice that you need to pick up as much fruit from the squeeze, baby, okay? So, then, March 30th, Neptune enters Aries. Neptune was in Pisces for that new moon. Didn't miss that. Mission planet, dream planet, intuition planet, psychic planet. It's like the information of Pisces, its ruler, is going into Aries, 0 degrees. Neptune, another slow mover, 1.5 years as well on a degree shift. Your dream is coming to the earth. That's how we end this month, okay? She steps onto the earth. That blueprint is coming with you. And to be sitting in Aries, it's like building, it's just going, you're going to see it via the fire. You will be able to see exactly it is what you are meant to be doing. You're going to be bringing it closer to a candlelight. Think about it like that, like you have this plan. You're bringing it to the candlelight so that you can read it. It's been in this dark space of Pisces for so long that you could only dream about it, and it was in your intuition, and it was in your mind, and you were hemming and hawing about it, and you knew you had a mission, and you knew you had something you wanted to fill. When we get to this Neptune and Aries, you're going to be able to see it a little bit. And as it moves through Aries over the next coming years, it's going to become a little brighter, 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 and then boom, when it gets into Taurus, it's all Earth, baby, okay? But the point is, this mission planet has been birthed. You're still waiting for Saturn. We still have other things that have to happen. The structure's got to move, right? But that's happening this year too. Now, this is a really big momentum forward. And as these planets move forward, until the end of summer, we're going to have a really good idea of where we're going. Then some of these planets are going to move back to Pisces. And that is going to say, you know what? I think I had this exactly as I needed it. But I've got to clean up just a little bit more on this blueprint before I fully present it to Earth at the end of 2025, all the way through 2026, 27, when all of these planets move into action signs, okay? So, see where you are now. Happy new moon. Remember to subscribe because we have the eclipse cycle. We got to talk about all of that with dates. Do not forget to download the PDF packet, which you can find in the description bar. And please do not forget about the Venus Retrograde sequence. So you can see it's going to have like a head and legs, and it's like all of these different aspects. Venus tells you so much. It talks to so many planets, and it talks to them for years. So you got a lot to learn here on how you can utilize Venus the most in your sign this month. So don't miss that. That's going to be the next thing I post after this. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Candace with A Course in Miracles, A Course in Miracles podcast. Please leave a comment and let me know what's going on with you. What do you think? How about the download? Like, are you with me on this? Am I being crazy? That is all that I have for you today.